the away day review show on Back of the Net, and a chance for us to rate another Premier League away experience. Nothing about the football, nothing about the game, just as well as on this episode, we're reviewing Manchester City, where Cherries lost the game, as we always do at the Etihad. You know the format by now, but we'll go over the city, the pubs, the people, the stadium, the view, the noise and the concourse, and we'll rate each one out of 10. Here is the current league table. This is where it's at. Liverpool are top of the league, just like they were in the actual Premier League last season. Can Manchester City make inroads on the Reds? Of course, as Bournemouth fans, we're only doing it for Bournemouth games, obviously, and yes, maybe the atmosphere would be more eclectic for, say, Manchester City versus Liverpool, as opposed to Manchester City versus us, but look, we can only play the hand we're given, right? So, let's get cracking. The City then, I mean, I love Manchester as a city, it is superb. Although Birmingham has held the second city title, Manchester arguably is England's second city. It's vibrant, it's a sort of self-assured city that blends industrial heritage with modern cultural energy. Of course, it used to be the engine room of the Industrial Revolution back in the day, but now it thrives on creativity, music, of course, sport and innovation as well, with regenerated districts alongside your sort of gritty, characterful neighbourhoods. The nightlife is also pretty legendary. I've been out to Manchester on a night out many a time. Of course, it's got your world-class football there, mainly on the eastern side of the city, let's be fair. All wrapped up in a sort of direct, no-nonsense northern attitude. Transport links, they're always good. Was it the B network? So you got trains, trams, buses. Makes it easy to get where you need to go to. From the city centre, though, where we parked, we actually decided to walk to the Etihad. Many people would get public transport, but it's like 35 minute walk, bit of a stride, but it's not unpleasant, you know. So you sort of walk down the Ashton Canal towards the Co-op Live, and then, well, that's right next to the Etihad, right? And as you exit the city centre, you'll come across sort of unkempt housing estates and old industrial buildings such as mills alongside the canal. But the closer you get to the Etihad, then you start to see the effects of Manchester City's regeneration of that, Sports City campus, like tennis and football centres, the Manchester Regional Arena, the Co-op Live, as I said, the Etihad campus. So you've got Media City on the west-hand side of the city, and then on the east, you've got Sports City. And it's fair to say they do seem to be doing a lot better than their red counterparts. I love Manchester, and with a decent chance to explore it before the game, from me, it's a solid 8 out of 10. Right, when we reference pubs, we tend to talk about the ones in and around the stadium, but around the Etihad, there's not a lot you can do. Now, I know the Townley has accepted. Manchester City fans, you need to maybe just bring me up to date on this. I never know whether it accepts away fans or not. I know it has previously, although the vibe seems to have changed. Maybe for certain fixtures like little old Bournemouth, you may be okay with them. Obviously not in club colours, ideally, I suppose. But yeah, let me know about that, because in and around the ground, there seems to be not much at all. Of course, in the city, though, there are a number of pubs you can go to in the Printworks area, Deansgate, or Town Hall areas of Manchester, which are, a tram ride away from the Etihad. Some city centre pubs ask away fans to cover up. I don't think it's a problem with Bournemouth, though, is it? We went to the Piccadilly Tavern, which is okay. It's like a sort of Green King pub, but it isn't a Green King. One of the comments on YouTube, though, read, and I need to find this. Hang on a sec. Here it is. Piccadilly Tavern is an absolute dump. And it's little wonder you got a table so easily. It used to be quite cheap by the city centre standards, but not anymore. Ancoats is the place to go pre-match nowadays, especially a bar called Cask. We'll keep that in mind next season. Maybe our standards are lower down south, but I actually found the Piccadilly Tavern alright. Good food as well, but there were plenty of pubs along that stretch, including the Brunswick, all of which looked okay for away fans. I think this one's difficult because sometimes when you think of an away game, you would associate a pub or pubs that are synonymous with that trip. The fact the City doesn't have a designated one, though, it makes it underwhelming, I would say, score-wise for this category. With like with Liverpool, you can pretty much go to any pub in and around the stadium. There's not a designated away pub. Loads of fans go to Arkles, but you're pretty much welcome in any pub. Manchester City is not the case, but there are plenty of places to drink in and around the city, though. So this one is going to be a 4 out of 10. And by the way, now I'm looking back. Let's just take a look at the table. I've not added Man City scores. This is the table that you saw at the start. How did I rate Leeds a 6? Let's go back to the table. What was I thinking? The fan zone was crap. The pub we got into, whilst it was okay, we weren't even sure whether we were meant to get there. I'm sorry. Right now, I'm downgrading that to a 3. I think that puts Leeds bottom of the table, but c'est la vie. Next, the people. And overall, I think the people of Manchester are great. But City fans, I think we can agree that they're just... Man City fans are better than United fans. Because, despite City's ridiculous success recently, they're more grounded. I think they're more respectful of the opposition that they are about to face. They're less dismissive of you. I'm talking about the fans in the flesh, right? Online is a different breed. We cannot bring that into the equation, right? They show knowledge about the team that they're about to play. Even Bournemouth, even Bournemouth, and we'll speak about the fans that we met along the canal. They also, inside the ground, they celebrate goals how they should be celebrated. I think I mentioned imposter syndrome on a video recently, and this sounds weird to say, it almost feels like Manchester City fans have got that a bit. I mean, let's face it, they do know their team is world class, but there's just not an entitlement. And I think if you have the mindset of an imposter, which is perhaps something that Pep instills in his side, the team works harder, the fans sing louder, and it produces a togetherness that yields results. And it's fair to say, over recent years, Manchester City have been getting results. This season, they're looking excellent. And whisper it, I think they could do it again. But yeah, it's weird. People from Manchester, as a whole now, they don't look outwardly easy to talk to. There's almost an intimidating feel. Maybe it's the accent, but when you do, though, God, they're absolutely sound. And City guys, especially City fans, they are top. Plenty of chats along the canal. People that knew loads about Bournemouth. They knew it's going to be a hard game, even though maybe in hindsight it wasn't. But very, very respectful, and they knew their team had to work hard for it. That's what I'm talking about, the imposter syndrome sort of thing. So you wouldn't get that from a United fan. If you had a chat to them, they wouldn't know half your squad. They'd predict they'd win 4-0, and yet it would end up with Bournemouth battering them in their own backyard 3-0 once again. Man City fans, I think, are on a par with Liverpool here, so I'm giving them 8 out of 10. Top people. Right, the stadium then. Of course, first used for the Commonwealth Games in 2002, I think. This stadium has been one that has been adjusted for football in the correct way. Take note, West Ham. I like it, and it's being expanded again, that they can hold around 60,000 people. But outside, you'd have to say it's not amazingly beautiful to look at, but it's sleek, it's modern, and it's almost futuristic in parts. The most sort of distinctive features, I suppose, are the tall masts and the network of tensioned steel cables that rise above the roof, and that helps to give it a light, airy, and almost like a spiderweb silhouette feel. And then the outer shell of the ground is kind of a mixture of glass, metal cladding and exposed structural elements, creating this kind of contemporary feel of a ground. Now, this was a 4:30 kickoff. Light was starting to set in a little bit. It was getting darker. And at night, I really like the look of the stadium because it often glows with light blue lighting, which, of course, reinforces Manchester City's identity. And it gives the whole stadium quite a polished, high-tech appearance. It's spacious outside, but it is a stadium that maybe doesn't look... I mean, those mast things help. But it doesn't look as grand as it probably should. Because, and well done for doing this, the actual pitch is 6 metres below ground level. Because they've actually, they dug down at the time, helping them, of course, to create that intimate feel. Unlike a certain stadium in East London that's absolutely appalling. This one, I think it's tough to score. I gave Anfield an 8 because it's classic. I gave Spurs a 9 because it's modern. I gave Palace a 6 because of its old school charm. So it feels fair to rank Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad, as a 7. But I do think this will be elevated to an 8 once the new stand is open. The view then. The view's good. This time, Tom was in the tier above. Mix up with tickets. Let's not go there. And that gives better sightlines. For instance, he was able to see that our 3rd-minute opener from Junior Krupi was offside, but us in the lower tier, we weren't so sure. From the upper tier, I think you get a clear, elevated perspective of the whole pitch. The rake is reasonably steep as well, so even seats further back, you sort of feel close to the action. And where we were, the distance to the pitch is actually minimal. You can almost reach out and grab the players. You feel quite close to them, I've got to say. And the rake of the stands, again, for the lower tiers, pretty good view. You can see everything around you pretty well. Large screens show off the best of the action. Overall, I think it's sound. It feels very similar in terms of view to Anfield because it's the same area behind the goal. You can go a little bit to the side, so it feels fair to score it the same as well. 8 out of 10. The noise then. It's really weird, this category, because from my own experiences at the Etihad, their fans have actually been very good and very loud in previous games. I like the fact their main kind of singing element is so close to the away supporters because it creates a good bit of back and forth, which helps. And I certainly hope when our stadium is redeveloped like it's going to be done, the away fans will be close to our brand new bigger stand that will house hopefully the bulk of our singing supporters, because that will help to create a really good atmosphere. Last time when we went to the Etihad, before this one that we're reviewing now, of course, that was the Kevin De Bruyne send-off. It was the end of the season, but I tell you what, there was a very vibrant atmosphere there, obviously helped by things like Marmoush's worldie, but for this game itself, it was just a little bit sombre. Both teams were flying high in the league, but there did seem a little bit of a malaise. Maybe the kick-off time didn't help. Maybe the fact that a number of Bournemouth fans chose not to travel for this one. Even on Sky, people were watching it and sensing the atmosphere was bad. One person, I think Colin from Colin and Tell's Matchday Vlogs, said it was a sort of something that represented a morgue at times. Of course, it got loud as City scored. But this game, I must say, played to the stereotypes that Manchester City fans sometimes get from your kind of people who provide lazy put-downs of Etihad and all that. I don't agree with that because I think it's a very vibrant stadium that generates some atmosphere. But this one, yeah, I was disappointed. But maybe when you're playing Bournemouth, when your team is steamrolling the opposition, how do you raise yourself? The dynamics of the game play a part, of course. If we scored a goal at some point, it would have got a bit more raucous. Their fans would have got louder. But for this one, it sounds like I'm discrediting them because they're usually all right. But for this specific game, 5 out of 10. Sorry. And finally, concourse. I mean, what can you say? Right, this is probably a slanderous statement against our own fan base here, me as a Bournemouth fan. I'm not slagging off Bournemouth fans, but a lot of Bournemouth fans don't turn up when we play Man City. I'm not talking on the pitch, I'm talking fans, right? I'm talking in the stands. More people choose not to go because they think we'll lose, and also, they possibly don't enjoy the trip. But for this one, I think there were noticeably a number of faces that just decided to sack this one off, and look, I don't blame them. The kickoff time doesn't help, it's live on TV. It's a horrible trip in terms of, like, you're leaving dead early, you're getting back quite late. So as a result, there was a lot of concourse space. It's a big area. There's nothing remarkable about it at all. Something that you'd probably expect in a modern bowl. Toilets were fine, but splitting the different tiers on different concourses is a bit annoying, I've got to say. I would have liked to have met up with Tom at half-time. I couldn't. How do I get my vlog material in, lads? But it's just the way it is, I suppose. You couldn't go outside for fresh air, which is something that some other stadia will allow you to do. It's more functional than characterful, let's put it that way. Wide walkways, good number of food and drinks kiosks. It didn't seem overly bad with the queuing. The decor is neutral, it's grey, it's concrete, it's efficient. Score 6 out of 10, and that's mainly just down to the space. There was lots of it. Right, so the overall score for Manchester City then is 46 out of 70. Let's see where that puts them on the league table. It puts them third, below Liverpool, below Tottenham, but quite comfortably above Crystal Palace and then Leeds United. You know what? I think that's probably fair. I think that's probably about right. But Man City fans, look, let me know where you think I'm talking absolute bullshit. Like, just let me know. And pubs, always want to know where we can go to drink. Put that in the comments because we will take up your suggestions next time. But yeah, there we go. We've got Aston Villa on the way, and that one usually scores pretty well. Apart from the pub factor, but we'll need to go over it in the next one. Subscribe and make sure you like the video. That really helps. And once you do subscribe, hit the bell. We'll notify you when the next video is going out. We'll do this for all 19 aways this season. And look, if you're a fan that's lucky enough to get a ticket down to Vitality, I hope you enjoy it. We like it, but will you? You can let us know. Cherries.